A lot of you are big fans of Catherine Pooler inks, but did you know that they have a monthly kit club as well? Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel, and in today's video I'll be sharing the Deluxe Sursee Kit Club for this month, which includes 2 sets of stamps and 2 coordinating dies. They're running a really great promotion this month where new subscribers get a free stamp set and coordinating dies. So let's unbox this month's Club Sursee Deluxe kit. So I mentioned that the Club Sursee Deluxe kit comes with 2 stamp sets and 2 coordinating dies. The basic Club Sursee comes with just the 2 stamp sets. You know me, I don't like to fussy cut, so I would definitely go with the Deluxe, but you can do either. Here's the Hey Tweety stamps and dies this month's set, and these include the cutest birds, a little branch, some speech bubbles. Everything cuts out with those coordinating dies, which is what I love. And you can put the sentiments right inside the speech bubbles. This is the In the Tropics floral stamps and dies, and these are the solid image stamps this month, and then there are dies to cut them out. Now let's make a few cards. So first up, I'm going to use the solid image stamps this month. I'm going to use the In the Tropics floral leaves. So I am stamping all of the leaves from that stamp set in several different ink colors of different shades of green. So I'll stamp them all out and then I'll head towards the flowers from the stamp set and I'll stamp those in several colors as well, thinking about what might coordinate well with the greens that I already stamped out. But I definitely want a rainbow of colors to work with. And once I have everything nice and stamped out, I'm going to use some pixie tape to hold those coordinating dies in place, and then I'm going to cut everything out. So I like to do everything in batches when I can, all the stamping, all the die cutting, and now I'm going to make a card. So I am going to stamp and heat emboss one of the sentiments from the In the Tropics floral stamp set in some gold embossing powder on white cardstock. So I started with an A2 piece of white cardstock. I am going to cut it down later and I'll show you why. So first I'm just going to heat set that gold embossing powder. I think the gold is going to stand out really nice with all these pretty light colors of leaves and florals that I already stamped and die cut out. So you can see all the little piles that I have there. This makes the process of creating cards a lot quicker for me. And if you have leftovers, you can just put them in the back side of your die pocket. Okay, I did cut that panel down because I'm going to create a background. I didn't have cardstock that exactly matched, so I'm just going to swipe the ink direct to paper on an A2 piece of white cardstock. And I figured out a way to do this without wasting all that ink in the center, so this is just going to be covered up anyway. But at this point in time, I was like just trying to get that color down on the cardstock, which I absolutely love. Cummerbund is probably one of my favorite Catherine Pooler inks colors. And I'm going to use a little bit of liquid glue because the ink wasn't 100% dry yet. And so I really wanted to make sure the panel stayed down. And I put a Catherine Pooler acrylic block on top to really flatten that out and hold it in place. Okay, I am going to do something similar with the other card. First, I'm going to stamp Life is Good, which is another sentiment from that floral stamp set, in the center with black ink, and then I'm going to surround it with 4 flowers this time. This time, instead of covering up that whole background that I'm not going to be able to see with ink, I'm just going to go around the edges. So I could cover the whole thing and then die cut out of the center. I didn't have time for that. So you can just cover up the center and then you can use tape runner right in the middle, even if the rest of the ink isn't dry yet, because it will adhere that panel down and it will stick and you'll be good to go. Just like Life is Good. So I love these colors together. I'll have all the colors linked down below that I use so that you can see. Okay, for the Hey Tweety stamp set, I'm going to do a similar thing where I'm going to stamp out all the images. I'm going to use some alcohol-friendly ink, and I use my Debbie tool when I have multiple stamps in the MISTI, just to get good even pressure and so I don't have to stamp it multiple times. I am going to stamp again to get the sentiment inside that speech bubble. I'm going to do one of each of those sentiments inside those larger speech bubbles and then the Sealed with a Kiss inside the smaller speech bubble. This time I am using Arteza Everblend markers, and I have lots of questions about which is my favorite out of Arctics and Arteza and all the alcohol markers that you can get. They're all wonderful. So pick a set of colors that speaks to you and try them out. I really like these because they do have the bullet tip on one end, but they do have the chisel tip on the other end. So there's positives and negatives about every art supply. You just have to find what works for you. Okay, so once I have all of the birds colored in, I am going to do the same thing with the dies. I'm going to cut everything out so that I have little piles of birds this time, and I wanted to add a little bit more shading onto that little pink bird and then some white gel pen. Many of you have tried out this white gel pen. This is my favorite white gel pen. It's from Pentel. I'll list it down below as well, but it continues to work for me and it works great on top of alcohol ink coloring or pencil coloring. I'm going to use some foam tape to pop up everything on this card. So I'm going to pop up the branch. I cut the foam tape in half to get thin slices there, little bits for both of the birds so they can be popped up as well. And I love these two birds together, kind of tweeting at each other, I guess. And then the speech bubble as well is going to get some foam tape to pop that up right in between the birds. I'm going to use a couple of the leaves that I've already stamped and die cut from the other stamp set so you can see how these really work well together too, which is really nice that everything in the kit kind of combines together and can be used together. You can use them separately, of course, but you can also combine them to make some really cute cards. This time I am using a flower and two leaves to kind of make a cluster. I'm going to put the speech bubble on top of that and then my two little birds at the bottom of the card. I'm going to use that technique of swiping ink direct to paper just around the edges so that I don't waste a ton of ink because I love my ink so much. And then I am going to use some adhesive in the middle and on the back of the panel so that I can adhere that panel down to my card that has perfectly matched ink to one of the elements on the card. So that's the reason I really like doing that technique, because then you have a perfect match of an element to a background. Thank you so much to Catherine Pooler for sending along this Deluxe Sursee Club kit. I had so much fun with these stamps and dies. Don't forget that if you want to subscribe, this month is a great month to do it because new subscribers get a bonus stamp set and coordinating dies. If you haven't seen my Catherine Pooler swatching video yet, you need to check that out next over here. As always, I want to thank you so much for spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. I've been standing this whole time. Why is my standing ring not closed? It's the whole point of working and standing is that you get to close your standing ring. That's why I do it. I know that many you, I lost like air. I'd be like flat on the floor by the time. All right, maybe shorter sentences would be good.